Yeah.
Can you hear me as well?
Hi. Yes,
Hi.
I can hear everyone. And we started the recording of the Drupal Core Cross Initiatives meeting on June the 7th, 2018. And there's only a few of us. There's been nobody of us last week, so it's already better than that. And I guess we're going to talk about the things that we have. We will have Lucas join for Migrate a bit later, so that should be good. I have a document that I opened last week for this meeting. I'm gonna share and then I'm gonna make notes. But it always starts with admin UI because that's alphabetically the first. So I think Christina can start.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
So I guess Matt can talk about that also, but last week we joined the initiatives. Blog post is on the way, and I guess they will explain it better. Maybe Matt can give some more details. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the new 7 and the designs and so on, so he can speak all the other things. On one side, we decided that we still need a new 7, whichever is the name finally. Mainly because until all the new pages with the new React stuff are finished, we still need to see all the other pages on the old template system. So we need to keep both, and ideally they should look the same. So we still need this new 7 theme. So the goal for that is what we are going to do is create design systems that can be applied both on the JavaScript administration and also the classic 7 components that we have right now. And we are trying to just do a new look and feel and keep all the things that we have right now. And the goal for Dev Days is to have, we set up a repo to start working on that. And the goal is to have all the components already designed and finished for Dev Days and have all the issues prepared so we can gather as many contributors as we can for then. And if it's possible, we should try to, we're going to try to have some commits first to serve as a reference for new contributors. On the design way, we're going to try to finish most of the components for next week. So we can have a design, we can send it to other designers in the community to gather some feedback, and also to send it to the accessibility people so they can review them before start implementing them. And also from there start creating all the issues for 7 in the GitHub repo. And apart from that, about the user test that we are also preparing, we are going to launch, we just launched actually today a survey for the Drupal Camp Twin Cities to test the survey that we have right now. And the goal for that is to have an online survey that Drupal Association is going to help us to distribute among people. The target is the final user, the content author. And ideally, we should get to this user through agencies. And the second goal for that is to gather some people interested on helping on a second phase that is going to be mainly testing the wireframes we came up with in the future and the next weeks for the new distribution of the admin interface. We're not just going to change components on the ideally in the new interface, but also change how things are distributed along the admin interface. And that's all so far.
So do you mean that as a reorganization of the AI of the, or the IA rather, of the
Exactly.
information architecture of the pages, or you mean it as the redesign of specific pages?
Meaning the architecture information and also the how where the menus are placed and this kind of thing. So which are the menus and where are they placed, and I don't know, for example, if pages should be refreshed totally or this kind of things. We are going to first try to come up with a new architecture information. We also spoke with Anja that she and Rachel are doing some work for site builders. Also, so we are going to work together. And we probably are the next step after this first survey is going to be a card sorting session or something like that online using Optimal Workshop. I don't know if you know it. It's a tool where you can just drag and drop cards and you just find which are the main top level elements or agrupations.
Yeah, Anja and Rachel have been doing a lot of work in the area way back to Milan. Okay,
So,
my other question is this work ready when the components are ready to be applied to the current pages in AI, or is it ready when the menu placement is also revisited, or?
So what we were talking is that we are going to just do a redesign or restyling for 7. So we are not going to change anything there. And at the moment that we actually think on this huge change for the architecture information and so on, we probably are talking of a huge change, and maybe something that, I don't know, maybe an experimental module or Drupal 9, I don't know. I'm not sure what to say right now about that. But we are talking about a huge change on that, probably.
So that sounds next phase for the menu reorganization and page replanning.
Yeah. So that's all.
Cool. That's great. Yeah, I was a bit afraid there that it would, because that would mean that contributors would not have success until like this big huge thing is done.
No.
But if it's for the components applied to the current system, that's already a win that
In
we
the short term.
work towards. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Very good. Any challenges that you see so far? Areas that you need help on? Things that we can promote?
I guess there are so many challenges that I don't know which one to pick right now. I guess how exactly things are going to work on 7, I'm not sure how many people are going to help on that, but we'll need to find a good way of selling to contributors that the work is worth it. And also on the design side, we are going to need some designers to review the feedback. So we'll try to reach some of the people that we already know, but maybe we need to reach more people in the future. And apart from that, the other thing are most in the air. So no more things right now.
Okay. Yeah, I think we can help with the contributors' understanding. I'm not sure that finding more designers. I don't have resources there. Into. Great. Cool. Let me know if there's anything else that I can, or Angie or somebody else in the community team can help with.
Okay, thank you.
Great. So next is API First. I don't think that we have anyone from API First this time either. That's kind of unfortunate because we have been missing API first for quite a while. So I will reach out personally to them and see if we can do something about that. JavaScript, I still have a separate item, and we have Matt, so let's do that.
Hi. Yeah. So kind of like what Christina said, we decided to merge/rename/create a different initiative that is the admin UI and JavaScript modernization at Frontend United last week. That was a good idea. And we had a lot of conversations about what we're actually going to try and build and set some deadlines for dev days, and then have something demoable for real by Drupal Europe, which is good. That gives us something to work towards. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a ton to add to this right now. I'm kind of sick, so it's a little bit difficult for me to think.
Can you explain briefly what you plan to have demoable by Drupal Europe?
Yeah, so what we plan to have demoable is the content listing page and the sort of node edit form available at this point. So two pieces that I think are important, to get us started. And then a lot of this too will be built with the Material UI React components, because the designs sort of are not ready and we need to make progress on this stuff. So we'll start with Material and then work our way out of Material once the designs are ready. So,
well, the designs will be based on Material, but not the Material theme.
Yeah,
The Material concept.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I think we can start with the Material components and then easily reskin them once we get sort of our own design language.
Mm-hmm. So do you mean the existing theme for Drupal, or do you mean the Material components that exist as an independent thing?
I mean the Material components that we're using with the JavaScript admin UI interface.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So those will get, because those operate independently, right? There's the React components, which have their like technical structure, and then the design language that is Material design, and then we can just we can keep the same technical components and then just reskin them. So
that's great. Good to hear. Anything specifically that we can help with?
I mean, I know 8.6 is coming up. Be really great to get some accessibility reviews that didn't take 2 months to complete on the JavaScript messages API. That is real close. Some of the other, there's some big issues like Ajax.js is.
This is Lucas. It looked like Mike Gifford was willing to do that, but I think he's a little bit lost in what to do. So maybe you're reaching out in Slack or something and saying, "Hey, can I help you walk through that?" Will probably.
Yeah, I mean, we've tried a number of times.
Okay.
It's a little unresponsive on Slack, so
he must not be on Slack.
Yeah. But yeah, it would be nice to get some of the JavaScript, like 8-year-old and 11-year-old JavaScript issues resolved sooner rather than later. If we have to carry those over again, I kind of just don't have any interest in working on them again. So.
Yeah, I'm looking at what Mike said on this accessibility Slack and what it was.
Yeah, there's issues with the existing server implementation of messages, and all we just sort of duplicated that. So I think there's some work that could be in a follow-up to fix the overall accessibility of printed messages from Drupal. But
yeah, so I see yesterday was discussed in the accessibility chat room on Slack.
Yeah.
Mike Gifford said that he's not sure that there can be accessibility implications to an API, but it was an end of a long day, so he was processing something, and then Andrew McPherson said that it's a JS API that injects elements into the DOM, and he was looking at it, and but the manual testing was laborious, and he will add some comments about what he found. It needs Meyer work. Maybe there was more work, probably. But I'll try to split some out to follow-ups.
Yeah. So, I mean, whenever that happens, there's a pretty comprehensive test module and set of tests for JS messages already. So, the thing is, too, that JS messages doesn't actually do anything. It just introduces a new API for building things, for sending JavaScript-based messages to the browser. So you're not, this gets in, it's not all of a sudden just going to magically start adding inaccessible messages to the pages.
Yep.
So.
Cool. I followed up there.
Okay, yeah. I mean, Lowry's kind of been on the accessibility side of things, so hopefully we can get that good to go.
Cool. Let me fix the notes here. So. Yeah, the work I didn't do from last week is to invite someone from Config 2.0. So I will do that right after this call. Open that here. I did find some, or we do have someone from layouts, but Tim Plunkett explicitly said no to this meeting, so it's not an implicit no anymore, but it's explicit. So also very lucky there. But we have Adam for media, which is quite critical.
All right. Well, I'm sorry to say that media is currently in sort of a not very happy place. We're kind of in a so close and yet so far state. So our two big targets for 8.6, just to remind everyone, are OEmbed support and the media library. The story with each of those, the media library is close to being able to be committed, but it's being sort of Sam, who has been working on this issue. We're getting caught up in like this loop of like UX feedback and accessibility feedback. So UX wants a thing and then it breaks accessibility. So we have to have accessibility review it, or at least okay it. And, we end up being delayed on that all the time. The good news there is we talked about this in the UX call a couple of days ago. And UX has a design that they like, and they consider it to be the final thing. There is one open question about accessibility regarding touch interactions, like with phones or other touch devices, which I think is waiting for Yoroi to just say a thing. And I think also Andrew McPherson has to get back to us and give us his blessing for that. I think once that question is resolved, I really think we're about to go to RTBC with that, because we've been in this kind of loop for like a month. So that has to land first, and then we can continue with the media library. So that's that. For OEmbed, last Friday, it was committed and then reverted less than an hour later, at which point many problems were found. And we've gone back and forth with that, changing a few things, finding a few things, mostly just me and Alex Pott. And Alex has stepped in and he started slinging patches against that issue. He thinks it's reasonably close. There's one, we discovered that the OEmbed stuff doesn't work for anonymous users at all because of CSRF stuff we had implemented. So he is fixing that and testing it. Berdier had suggested pulling OEmbed stuff into another alpha experimental module, where he suggested that yesterday, and I was just like totally defeated. I was like, fine, if the product managers are okay with that. And then Alex was like, I don't think we need that. So the TLDR on OEmbed is that we're trying like hell to land that, and we can, at this point, we basically are just hoping that we can land it. And I think Alex is mostly okay with the API of it. And it's just a very complicated bunch of code. And so we're trying to kind of contain that complexity and maintain the security of it. So basically, media's got fires to put out, but we are fighting them. And that's that.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions?
What about the field widget?
The field widget is blocked by the library itself. So there are 3 issues comprising the media library, and they have to happen in order, as each is blocked by the previous one. And so those are the library itself, the field widget, and then bulk upload. And we're still trying to land the library due to the UX and accessibility reviews.
Yeah, so at least we don't have new challenges around the field widget.
I'm sorry, what was that, Gabor?
At least we don't have new challenges around the field widget yet.
That we know of, man.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that we know of. So hopefully nothing. Hopefully no dragons arise there. But we'll know. The good news is the media library is going in as an experimental module, which gives us some latitude to, mess with it and do what needs to be done to get that good.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's that. That's all I got.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, just making sure that that's not in here as well. We don't have any outdated stuff anymore. Cool. Migrate. We have Lucas. Hi. Hello.
Hi, I'm going to mute myself. Okay. I've been trying to go through and figure out where we're at while listening. We actually have a lot of stuff in needs review, but we don't have enough reviewers. So I did ask Adam, who's also super overworked, if he could overwork a little more. But I think we could use some other folks to jump in there. We've got probably 5 or 6 things that are I-18N, translation related. And we had a couple things for the UI that were tweaks around wording and error messaging. Let me just throw out some very specific ones. Migrate Drupal 7 entity translation settings to Drupal 8 is a high priority to us because it's kind of blocking some things to make us able to maybe migrate Drupal stable. That issue number is going to be pasted in to the Hangout.
And now we're moving over to
that one, we're seeing incremental progress. I think it's close to RTBC. I've asked Masipila to review it again because we're really close. It's gone through a fair number of reviews. Plotch looked at it last week. Didn't have a lot to share around what was being done. It's a pretty heroic effort to pull over this data, which is good, but we still have probably a half dozen or 5 or 6 other I-18N things that are going to probably still block us from going stable with Migrate Drupal. We still have our Migrate Drupal I-18N experimental module hanging over here in the wings as a RTBC issue, so that we could still migrate Drupal stable in 8.6. I don't know if now is the time we need to start reviewing that or when, but we're coming up close on that.
Mm-hmm.
To get our our I's dotted, T's crossed as far as reviews from release managers and product managers and framework managers and whoever. Okay, so that's the first one. There's that one. Let me paste the one I just mentioned. That's an RTBC. Experimental module. Pasted it. So what else do we have? We've also got in review adding the CSV module from Contrib into core. That's also blocked on reviews. What else? We've got a service for being able to allow fields to be discovered in various entities. So like if you're on the node and you want to like attach all the field values, or if you're on a commerce product, or if you're on a ECK or media or taxonomy, we have a lot of boilerplate code that we've externalized into a service. That issue needs to be reviewed. Yeah, those are the high points, I would say, as far as reviews. We've got half dozen RTBC issues. We're doing okay. We'd like to make our milestone of migrate Drupal, and I think we will one way or the other, being stable in 8.6. We just might do it with an experimental Drupal I18N module. Questions?
I think it makes sense. So I think what you mean is that we should bring the 18N experimental question to the committers and decide there.
I think that would be a good next step. Mm-hmm. I don't think we're going to make it, so let's have the reviews of that and see if we're all on board, answer questions, maybe get that to land, and then we could also get the migrate Drupal patch to remove it from the experimental package. And you know, there's probably 2 or 3 issues that have to land here to get migrate Drupal stable.
Mm-hmm. How many? You said 4 or 5?
No, I said probably 2 or 3.
Okay.
One is the experimental module. One is to mark the next thing as non-experimental. So that's 2, and we might come up with a third, but I think it's just those 2.
Yeah, probably not in core. There's going to be a bunch of follow-ups and like docs and stuff, but
yeah, and we'll probably have to write some blog posts and announcements that migrate Drupal is stable now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Okay. Ooh. I will bring that to committers. It's going to be a core committer meeting later today, so I'll try to get that on the agenda in, I don't know, 5 hours, 4 hours, something. No, 5 hours. Okay. Let's see. I have out of the box. Nobody is here from out of the box, but they told me they're not going to be here, and they left some notes. So they said that they had a really good team meeting on Tuesday, got through a lot of items. They got 2 issues committed, and the very large IE Internet Explorer 11 one is RTBC. And Mark Conroy and Keith J are going to spend some time with Keith refining the design a bit to work with the layout builder before 8.6. And Mark Conroy is planning to do the necessary front end for it. So it sounds like it's going to be possible to use the demo with layout builder, which is pretty exciting. not clear from this if that's. Well, I should ask Mark if he's still online. Does that mean that they're builder based or optionally support layout builder? I guess that's kind of an important question there. But yeah, that's where out of the box is. So stuff is happening and no challenges at this time, I think. We don't have PHP unit represented. We also didn't have anyone from workflows. They used to be here, and they used to be one of the people who insisted that this can be a great avenue for resolving problems. I've been following some of their progress, and they're working towards the new workflow UI that's going to be displayed on the top of the page. And there's a few side issues that were found with the styling and how it's displayed exactly, but they're nothing except especially serious that I know of. So the workflows. Right. In case there's nothing else that we can talk about to unblock, nothing else I can help with, I guess. No reason to take up your time. So thanks everyone for all the input. I will try to help on all the points where I promised. Keep up the great job. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Gabor.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody. Bye-bye.